Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the sleeper hit of 2022, Megan 2.0. And this film is written and directed by Gerard Johnstone. It stars Allison Williams, Violet McGraw, and Jermaine Clement. And this sequel follows Megan being rebuilt to combat a humanoid military robot built using Megan's technology that is attempting an AI takeover. This, going by that synopsis, you would think that is pretty poignant in this day and age, especially if you're on social media. You see all of the AI videos and whatnot that's on every single social media network. You almost question what is real and what is fake. And all I can think about is Skynet taking over the world. But speaking of Skynet, Megan 2.0 is basically Timu Terminator 2. It is following that film's outline almost to a T. It just doesn't have a android with liquid metal, but aside from that, this is Timu Terminator 2. The first Megan was a pretty fun mix of horror and science fiction, and this film is just science fiction in action. There's no horror involved in Megan 2.0. I really enjoyed the first Megan. I thought it was a fun time. It didn't reinvent the wheel in no shape, form, or fashion, but it was a fun little movie. So I was expecting something at least in the vein of that. And unfortunately, Megan 2.0 just didn't quite hit the mark for me. I enjoyed the action in it. It had some really cool action sequences. But aside from that, nothing else was there. This movie was all over the place, The first Megan, it was a singular story, told a really good story, and it was a truly entertaining film. This movie wasn't. It tried to do too much. The movie tried to tell a story, tried to, I guess, be in the now, telling this AI story, and then trying to be funny at parts and trying to be this action movie at the same time. But unfortunately, it forgot to develop characters. It forgot to get a character that you can get behind. You couldn't get behind nobody in this movie. It was nothing about this film that you would cheer, or no one in this film you can cheer for. Megan, they're asking you in this film, and this is no spoilers, but they're asking you to pretty much forget about the first film involving Megan, with all the stuff that she did, and we're supposed to turn around and just forget about it. Since I'm comparing this movie to Terminator 2, in Terminator 2 is a difference. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the good guy this time in Terminator 2, but you can kind of forget about what the Terminator did in the first film because that wasn't the same Terminator. This was a different machine, and so it didn't do that. The Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 did not commit all of the crime and murder and mayhem that Terminator did in the first one. And so you can kind of shoot that off. But in this film, Megan is Megan. It's the same Megan that was in the first film, killing people, threatening to kill people, and causing all this mayhem. And all of a sudden, okay, we're good. And in the mere fact that they spent the entire movie trying to get you to forget it, it was kind of insulting, It was kind of upsetting because this is a completely different character. Yes, it was the same actress who did the performance and the same actress who did the voice of the character. Yeah, all that's the same, but it was a different character. The reason you love Megan from the first film because she had a personality that you enjoyed, that you liked. Now there was some elements of it in this film But for the most part, this is a different character, and I just could not get behind it. The villain in here, the villain was really, really interesting, but they didn't really dive into it. It wasn't enough of this villain in the film runtime to make you fear for the villain. It wasn't enough to really display the stakes that were on the line in this film. And this particular film, opposed to the first film, where it was just a family that was in danger. This go around, now the world is in danger because of this new murderous humanoid robot. But you didn't feel that. I didn't feel the dread or the sense of urgency to stop this new upgraded version of Megan. Now, don't get me wrong, when that character, I think it was Amelia, was the name of the new robot, the bad robot here. Uh, when she was on screen, she was a beast, man. that was a that was a beast of a robot. It had shades of the T-1000. I think that was the liquid metal version. In Terminator 2, she was everything that the T-1000 was, except didn't have liquid metal. If she would have had liquid metal, then you would have had like, oh man, they're really in trouble. But I just didn't feel it. This twist that happens in the movie that ain't a twist. I knew, I knew 10 minutes in what the twist was, and I say 10 minutes because that's when the character that involves the twist pops up. As soon as he pops up, you're like, okay, I know what he's about. It was like this makes no sense. It was so cookie cutter. It's almost embarrassing to a degree. I'm really disappointed with the movie because I was hoping to at least get what we got in the first film. I know that the first film had his tongue planted firmly into his cheek there. It was cheesy, of course, but it was meant to be that way. It leaned into that. That's what made it so enjoyable. But this movie at times tried to take itself seriously, and I was like, are they seriously trying to tell, tell a compelling story here? And just when you might get convinced that okay, they're taking a serious route, I'm starting to believe it. They'll come with something silly, and it just made the movie feel like it was all over the place, um, which is kind of peculiar because it isn't like this was in the hands of a different director and creators. Everybody that was involved in the first Megan was involved in this Megan. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I understand trying to go bigger than the first film. Yeah, I'm all for that. And this movie, it seems like it was a little, not by much, but a little bigger than the first film as far as budget and production wise. But it didn't help it. It didn't help it at all. Sometimes simple is better. The simpler route is the better route. You just because it's bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. And unfortunately, Megan falls into that category, or Megan 2.0, I should say, which gets a letter grade of a C minus. Yeah, if it wasn't for the action sequences here, this would have been D, almost F territory, because I could not get into the story. Action was decent. They had a couple of jokes that landed, but some that fell completely flat. Some characters that didn't work, some characters that did work. It was just a mixed bag of a film, hence the C minus rating. But I would love to know, what did you think of Megan 2.0? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was better than the first one? I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Megan 2.0. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.